Oh, there we go. That's weird. Okay. Everybody hear me okay now? Somebody say something. Uh, okay. Well, it should be okay. That's weird. I tapped the mic when I started, and it the bar went up as if it were turned on, but I checked just now and it was turned off. Anyway, okay. Let's start over. This is the Bitter Pill, and I'm Jeff Melton. And tonight we're going to talk about the smear campaign that's been launched against Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian-American member of Congress. She's from the Detroit area, and you might recall that in addition to the long-standing history of racist and misogynist, etc., personal attacks that have gone on against her for a long time, because although she's certainly a Democrat, and all the things that go with that, such as being a supporter of the U.S. proxy war against Russia. She's been very, very consistently good on Palestine. Really, she's the only one in Congress who is. I wouldn't say that Ilhan Omar has been solid or perfect on that issue, although she's been pretty good. So anyway, as a result of probably the fact that she's Palestinian-American and Muslim, and certainly because she's an advocate of Palestinian rights, Rashida Tlaib was, as you might recall, censured by Congress back last fall, simply because she used the phrase or slogan, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which, as all of us who support Palestinian liberation know, is simply a call for freedom for the Palestinians, and that's really all it is. But it's been labeled anti-Semitic and calling for genocide of Jews, which certainly it's not. It's just saying, let's bring down this fascist apartheid genocidal government and have a free Palestine, secular democratic government. So anyway, this latest attack on her occurred when she spoke out against Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel's arrest of 11 pro-Palestinian protesters at the University of Michigan. I can't remember if I said, but Tlaib is a congresswoman from the Detroit area. And let me just show you this article that kind of gives a timeline of just the whole thing. Let's see, where did it go? There it is. Okay, so the gist of it is that Rashida Tlaib was falsely accused of saying that Dana Nessel, the Attorney General of Michigan, was critical, or sorry, let me start over. Rashida Tlaib criticized Attorney General Nessel for having these protesters arrested, and Attorney General Nessel falsely accused Congresswoman Tlaib of saying that she was only saying that she was only arresting them because she herself is Jewish and therefore biased. Now, in fact, Tlaib said nothing about her being Jewish. So that was made up. And anyway, this made up claim by Attorney General Dana Nessel made the rounds on CNN and various other outlets. So let's just quickly go through this. So, like a couple of weeks ago, Rashida Tlaib called out Dana Nessel for announcing charges against 11 pro-Palestine protesters at Michigan. Instead of getting justice, not one criminal charge in the Flint water crisis, you're going to spend time in trying to use the power of your office to silence people's First Amendment rights, Tlaib said during a Black Palestine Solidarity panel moderated by Mehdi Hassan, the founder of this outlet that Prem Thacker is writing this on here. This is a move that's going to set a precedent, and it's unfortunate that a Democrat made that move, Tlaib elaborated in an interview with the Detroit Metro Times. You would expect that from a Republican, but not a Democrat, and it's really unfortunate. We've had the right to dissent, the right to protest, she added. We've done it for climate, the immigrant rights movement, for Black lives, and even around issues of injustice among water shutoffs. But it seems that the Attorney General decided that if the issue is Palestine, she was going to treat it differently, and that alone speaks volumes about possible biases within the agency she runs. Nessel's prosecutions were also criticized by various groups, including Michigan's American Civil Liberties Union chapter. And then a few days after that, not sure whether this, well, actually, I guess it was something that they just decided to come up with, whoever the cartoonist was, because she's Palestinian-American, and the pager attack in Lebanon had just occurred. So, racist cartoonists decided, what the hell, I'll make a cartoon depicting Rashida Tlaib having her pager explode. So then a couple of days later, Nessel, in the course of criticizing this cartoon, also wrote, just as Rashida should not use my religion to imply I cannot perform my job fairly as Attorney General. It's anti-Semitic and wrong. Rashida never mentioned your religion, lady. They just lie shamelessly. It's really quite something. Here's what Rashida Tlaib said on Twitter, on X. The Attorney General failed to deliver justice for the victims of the Flint water crisis, but has time to bring frivolous charges that only serve to silence those speaking out against the genocidal apartheid regime. This shameful attack on students' rights will fail. Follow the Constitution. And she is quoting here the guy who ultimately wound up interviewing her. And it was, I think, based on the interview that Nessel came up with this false claim. Let's see. I don't think I've read this article. But anyway. So this reporter, Steve Nevling, I'm not sure how you say his name, sorry, interviewed Rashida Tlaib about, I assume about her comments regarding the Attorney General's, hypocrisy, arresting people for exercising their First Amendment right to protest against a genocide, but failing to arrest people who had poisoned the residents of Flint, Michigan. So here is that article. Tlaib slams Nessel for targeting pro-Palestinian students at U of M, a dangerous precedent. U.S. Representative Rashida Tlaib sharply criticized Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel for filing charges against pro-Palestinian protesters at the University of Michigan on Thursday, saying her harsh actions could ruin the lives of bright young students and set a dangerous precedent for peaceful protests. Tlaib condemned the charges as an unjust and heavy-handed response to peaceful civil disobedience. This is a move that's going to set a precedent, and it's unfortunate that a Democrat made that move, Tlaib said in his interview with her. You'd expect that from a Republican, but not a Democrat, and it's really unfortunate. Well, I would certainly expect it from a member of either party, but she's a Democrat, so of course she's going to say that. Okay, so all right, it goes through the details of who was charged with what here. Tlaib recalled her visit to the encampment and described the atmosphere as peaceful and welcoming. It was very inclusive, it was diverse, very loving, Tlaib says. When I visited, I remember that they were talking about the Armenian genocide, and what we learned from that, it was very powerful. I wish University of Michigan President Ono could see his students as people that just want to save lives, no matter their faith or ethnicity. No matter their faith or ethnicity. So, gosh, even if they were Jewish. Tlaib also criticized Nessel for what she believes is a biased approach to the protests. We have the right to dissent, the right to protest, Tlaib says. We've done it for climate, the immigrant rights movement, for Black lives, and even around issues of injustice among water shutoffs. But it seems that the Attorney General decided if the issue was Palestine, she was going to treat it differently. And that alone speaks volumes about possible biases within the agency she runs. So Tlaib went on to say, many of those arrested remind me of my own self at that age, who wanted to free our world from oppression. I just know that her action is going to ruin their lives. That's all I can think of. They're so young and they have such a tremendous future. Tlaib accused Nessel of caving to demands to prosecute from university authorities, including Ono and members of the Board of Regents. Certainly doesn't sound like it has anything to do with Nessel being Jewish, does it now? Pointing out that Washtenaw County prosecutors could have filed charges, but didn't. Washtenaw County is the county where Ann Arbor, Michigan is. I think people at the University of Michigan put pressure on her to do this, and she fell for it, Tlaib says. I think President Ono and Board of Regents members were very much heavy-handed in this. It had to come from somewhere. In 10 years, she goes on to say, the University of Michigan itself is going to teach about this movement and say how wonderful it was, or how it moved our country toward a direction that it needed to, following international law and human rights laws and our own U.S. laws. Yet people are going to write about how the University of Michigan decided to prosecute, criminalize, and vilify their students when they just did everything they were taught to do. So she continued her criticism of the University of Michigan. So basically, she's saying that Attorney General Nessel caved to pressure from the University of Michigan. No mention of anything about her religion. Okay, so continuing with the chronology of the smear. So Nessel started it. Then on Sunday, CNN anchor Jake Tapper questioned Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer on the matter. Do you think Attorney General is not doing her job? Because Congresswoman Tlaib is suggesting that she shouldn't be prosecuting these individuals that Nessel says broke the law, and that she's only doing it because she's Jewish and the protesters are not. That's quite an accusation. Do you think it's true? Well, first of all, you lying fuck. Lots and lots of protesters against the actions of the Israeli government are themselves Jewish. Do you not know that? I'm sure you do. You're just a liar. Um, and Whitmer said she didn't want to get in the middle of it. Then media outlet Jewish Insider reported on Whitmer's remarks, writing that Whitmer didn't speak out against Rashida Tlaib's insinuation that the Attorney General charged campus demonstrators because she's Jewish. CNN's David Chalian reiterated the idea. It's not very hard to say that Rashida Tlaib saying that Dana Nessel is pursuing charges is because she's Jewish is an anti-Semitic thing to say. It is. Okay, so that prompted Steve Nevling, the person who interviewed Rashida Tlaib, to publish another article that fact-checked the Attorney General, CNN, etc. So, look, I'm the one who interviewed her. She didn't say that. Okay, so here's Dana Bash expressing her stupid, dishonest opinion on X. A sad reality, anti-Semitism is everywhere, and it comes from both ends of the political spectrum. We saw two examples of politicians sidestepping instead of calling it out on CNN SOTU State of the Union show yesterday. So here's Steve Nevling calling her out. This is a lie. You're referring to a story I wrote for Metro Times, and Representative Tlaib never said what you're saying she said. Never. Here's a fact check, and he links to his article. Let's see. And he also called out Jake Tapper. Who quoted Gretchen Whitmer getting in on the smear campaign. The suggestion that Attorney General Nessel, this is a statement she made, would make charging decisions based on her religion as opposed to the rule of law is anti-Semitic. Attorney General Nessel has always conducted her work with integrity and followed the rule of law. We must all use our platform and voices to call out hateful rhetoric and racist tropes. So I haven't looked, but I'm sure if I did look, I would find that nowhere has Gretchen Whitmer called out hateful rhetoric and racist tropes uttered against Rashida Tlaib or other Palestinian voices. So Steve Nevling responds to the governor. I'm the reporter, responds to Jake Tapper, but also he's quoting Tapper is quoting the governor's statement. I'm the reporter who interviewed Rashida Tlaib. She never said Nessel did this because she's Jewish. Never. You're spreading lies. So in his story, Nevling, his fact check, Nevling wrote, Tlaib never once mentioned Nessel's religion or Judaism. But Metro Times pointed out in the story that Nessel is Jewish, and that appears to be the spark that led to the false claims. On Monday evening, yesterday night, Attorney General Nessel appeared on CNN with Tapper, who partially walked back from his earlier peddling of the lie. I should note that I misspoke yesterday when asking for a follow-up of Governor Whitmer, who I asked about this. I was trying to characterize your views of Tlaib's comments, Tapper said. What do you make of those today, noting that Congresswoman Tlaib never explicitly said your bias was because of your religion, and so it's unfair for you to make that allegation. So Nessel, being a weaselly Dishonest Democrat said this. In 22, when my opponent accused me of being a groomer and a pedophile, everybody understood that those were homophobic remarks because I happened to be gay. Nessel started. What the fuck does that have to do with Rashida Tlaib? Rashida Tlaib is an individual who is well known for making inflammatory and incendiary remarks that are anti-Semitic in nature. So this isn't the first time that we would have heard these words out of her mouth. She continued saying she thought it was very clear exactly what Tlaib was saying. So she's not only doubling down on the lie that she uttered in the first place that started this whole thing, but throws in an additional lie that she's well known for making inflammatory and incendiary remarks that are anti-Semitic in nature. So then, Jewish periodical Jewish Insider published. I edited the original story. What the original story is? Oh, they had published a story previously that was basically repeating the smear. Sometime Tuesday, Jewish Insider edited the original story, adding a correction or clarification. Tlaib has also claimed that Nessel is only charging the protesters because she's Jewish. Tlaib has also suggested that Nessel is only charging the protesters because she's Jewish. So they changed one word that was irrelevant to the meaning. Of course, this manufactured lie about Tlaib has wholly obscured that Tlaib was victim to a racist cartoon that was published in the Detroit Free Press and other publications like National Review. Okay, so just trying to think what else I want to add to this. Okay, so Ali Abu Nima talks about the repeated attacks on Rashida Tlaib that have occurred over time. So, there was a lot of pushback on Tapper and Dana Bash and Dana Nessel's comments. So Laura Friedman, not sure who she is, said the suggestion that criticism against any Jewish person may be assumed or judged to be anti-Semitic based not on whether the criticism has anything to do with Jews or Judaism, but on the critic's identity as a Muslim and or critic of Israel Zionism is a racist trope. Yep. Okay, there was something else I wanted to show you. But okay. All right. I guess I'll just end with this. What Katie Halper had to say. Kind of ties it up in a bow. Rashida Tlaib criticized Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel for prosecuting pro-Palestine protesters. Tlaib never mentioned that Nessel was Jewish. The following people should be fired for defaming and libeling Tlaib as an anti-Semite through a coordinated smear campaign. Attorney General Dana Nessel, who lied and said Tlaib had gone after her because of her being Jewish. Jay Tapper for saying Congresswoman Tlaib is suggesting Nessel is only prosecuting students because she's Jewish and the protesters are not, which many of them are. Um, Josh Kraushaar of Jewish Insider for writing in seeing an interview with Jake Tapper, Whitmer doesn't speak out against Rashida Tlaib's accusation that Dana Nessel charged campus demonstrators because she's Jewish. Dana Bash for saying that Tlaib had said the Attorney General was letting her religion influence her job, and attributing anti-Semitism to Tlaib by tweeting anti-Semitism is everywhere and it comes from both ends of the political spectrum. David Chalian for saying Rashida Tlaib saying that Dana Nessel is pursuing charges because she's Jewish is an anti-Semitic thing to say. And of course, shout out to Anti-Defamation League's Jonathan Greenblatt and Jake Tapper for revealing the coordinated Zionist circle jerk they've engaged in, which I gotta say, as a Jew, doesn't make me feel safe. One other thing I wanted to share with you is that Dana Bash later made a so-called clarification of the story. Okay, let's see what this so-called clarification. Okay, so basically, the Danas are doubling down. The Danas, however you want to say their names. So as Aaron Mate puts it, Dana Bash concludes this quote-unquote clarification that Rashida Tlaib did not accuse Dana Nessel of charging protesters because she's Jewish, by yet again promoting the very lie that she's just corrected. So yeah, definitely leaving viewers with the thought that, oh, well, it's possible that she meant that it was because she's Jewish, or it's likely that that's what she actually meant. So they just never stop with the smear campaigns against anybody who is standing up to genocide, including a congresswoman, a U.S. congresswoman. So these despicable people, I think firing is. Rashida Tlaib should sue their asses for every penny they're worth. Really, this is just ludicrous. So anyway, I just thought I would share that and my thoughts with you. And just another day and Zionist propaganda, I guess. It goes on and on. All right. Take care, everybody. I will see you next time. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will see you next time.